Finally, a good movie. Army of the Dead is directed by Zack Snyder and stars Dave Bautista, and it follows a group of badasses who decide to break into a Las Vegas casino and steal millions of dollars from a bank vault. However, there's a zombie outbreak going on, and all of the zombies are contained in Las Vegas. When I heard about Army of the Dead, I thought that sounds really fucking stupid. It's a bank heist movie and a zombie movie. Now don't get me wrong, I really like Dave Bautista. I think he's a good actor. He's got some range, you know, not the most, but pretty good for a wrestler turned actor. I'm not a huge Zack Snyder fan. That being said, I think Dawn of the Dead is one of the best horror remakes ever. I really enjoyed 300. I liked Man of Steel, although it did feel like I was being waterboarded with visual effects. But overall, I just haven't really been that impressed by him, which makes watching Army of the Dead and enjoying it as much as I did that much better. I had a fantastic time watching this movie. This is a ridiculous concept, but thankfully it doesn't take itself too seriously. The opening montage kind of reminded me of Zombieland. It's not as funny as Zombieland, of course, but there is a lot of humor sprinkled throughout this movie. On top of the humor, the thing that really makes this movie work is that all the characters are really fun to watch. Dave Bautista is great as a badass who just kind of wants to start a new life and kind of get a second chance. He's also trying to reconnect with his estranged daughter. You've also got the friends of Dave Bautista who are just as badass as him. You've got an internet star who's really good at killing zombies. You've also got Tig Notaro, who's replacing Chris D'Elia in this movie after the allegations of sexual misconduct came out against him. I have to say also, she was digitally placed into this movie. Could barely tell. There were a couple shots where I was like, I feel like they digitally inserted her and it's a little bit noticeable, but for about 90% of the movie, it's quite seamless. And on top of that, you've also got some of my favorite characters, like the Coyote, who's this blonde French woman who is just incredible, and Dieter, a German safecracker whose main goal is to crack open the safe. And, you know, he might not be the greatest at shooting zombies, but he's trying. There are so many people in this movie, and you might hear that and go, how are they going to give all of those characters an arc? And there's actually more characters than the ones that I just mentioned, but this movie gives them a quirk. It gives them a little bit to work with so that they can be a fun character in a movie without actually focusing too much on each of them. That might sound like it's a bad thing, but to be completely honest, you get the sense of who this character is. You have fun going on this journey with all of them. The banter between them, it's very funny and it's very entertaining. So while these characters might be void of any real character development, it doesn't really fucking matter. The movie's called Army of the Dead as well. I didn't really expect to get, you know, there will be blood. You're getting action, you're getting fun characters. That's really all you need. Also, going back to Zack Snyder, his style really works for this movie. It's a gorgeous film to look at. There are so many shots that I was like, oh my god, that looks incredible. And I just really enjoyed watching it. It's very easy on the eyes. Like I said, Man of Steel was a little bit too much for me in terms of visual effects. This one is just right. The pacing is also really good. It's a 2.5 hour long movie, and you kind of feel the runtime, but you're entertained throughout all of it. If we're talking about weaknesses, we've talked a little bit about how the characters aren't that deep. Personally, it didn't really bother me. It would have been better if you could really care about all of these characters, but in all honesty, when shit really started to hit the fan in this film, I genuinely didn't want any of these characters to die. I've also heard the film's criticism is lying in the depth that it's trying to have, and there's a couple scenes with Dave Bautista and his daughter where they're trying to have a moment and they're trying to create a moment, and it doesn't really work. The film is also kind of predictable. You're looking at the cast and you're like, I have a pretty good idea of who's gonna live and who's gonna die. But it's 2021. We haven't had a ton of great movies, and I can honestly say this movie is really fun. I'm gonna give Army of the Dead a 7.8 out of 10 stars. Honestly, this movie makes me excited to go and watch more Zack Snyder films. Like I said, I haven't been a huge fan of him before, but this movie makes me want to give his filmography a little bit more of a chance. So did you see Army of the Dead this weekend, and what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, follow me on Instagram at @MattHallCollections. I just started it and we've been having a great time. You guys are so much fun to talk to and interact with. I've got some great suggestions of videos to do in the month of June that I can't wait to do, and I'm just having a good time. So thank you everyone who's been watching, subscribing, and liking and commenting and sharing. I appreciate it so much. Tune in on Wednesday for a top 5 Emma Stone movies list, and as always, stay groovy, watch a movie.